In last episode, we saw the Korean hunters team is struggling in fighting against ants, and then suddenly shadow soldiers get arrived and stops the ants. Then we see the look of Jin Woo saying exchange, and now next.
The chapter begins in the tunnel, where the cameraman is seen with ants rapidly approaching. In front of the cameraman, an ant beast looms. The cameraman lowers his head, lost in thought, remembering his father. He mutters, "I can't believe the last thing I said to my dad was, 'Have you eaten yet?'" If only he had known how things would turn out, he would have had more conversations with him. In his final moments, he closes his eyes, awaiting the inevitable attack from the ants. But, unexpectedly, a sword pierces through the two ants, rushing toward him, delivered by a shadow soldier. The scene shifts to the broadcast station, where the head of the station is visibly distressed. They've just witnessed their hunters being utterly defeated, and he can't believe it was all due to a single ant. How is that even possible? He wonders aloud. One of the staff informs him that their phone lines are about to go down from an overwhelming number of calls from viewers. The supervisor responds coldly, "So what? Did they expect us to show the hunters being torn apart on national television?" The station head muttered in despair. "It's all over. We're done for." Just then, a staff member shouted, "Sir, someone has appeared at the scene." The head quickly turned to him, bewildered. "What are you talking about?" "Look at the screen," urged the staff member. When the head did, his eyes widened in shock. "Sweet Mother of God," he whispered. Without hesitation, he ordered, "Prepare for a live broadcast." Another staff member hesitated. "Sir, without delay, we won't be able to edit the footage if something goes horribly wrong." The head shook his head. "We've already stopped once. It can't get any worse from here. It's all or nothing now. We're going live." On the screen, Jin Woo appeared, and alongside him, his shadow soldiers emerged. The head of the station realized their fate now rested in Jin Woo's hands. In the tunnel, Jin Woo stood amidst the chaos. With a single command, he called upon Iron, who immediately used his skill, Shout of Provocation. A deafening roar echoed, drawing every ant's attention. Jin Woo nodded in approval. "Good work."
Drawing the Demon King's daggers, weapons he had acquired from the Demon Castle after defeating Baran, he felt their immense power surge through him. The daggers granted him a plus 220 attack boost and additional bonus stats based on his strength. Without hesitation, Jin Woo charged, slicing through hordes of ants in a blur. Meanwhile, Tusk conjured a magic shield to protect the wounded S-rank hunters. Dongwook, still dazed from the battle, asked, "What's going on?" "Who's fighting the ants?" Yunho, watching in awe, replied, "Looks like we're in good hands." As Jin Woo continued his relentless assault, an ant suddenly lunged at the group. Ygritte intercepted it effortlessly, crushing it with his gauntleted hand before slamming it into the ground. More ants attacked from behind, but Ygritte's sword cut them down instantly. Tank, eager for action, chomped down on another, while Iron demolished several more. Assessing the battlefield, Jin Woo decided it was time to shift the tide even further. With a commanding voice, he uttered, "Arise." One by one, the slain ants trembled before rising again, this time as his shadow soldiers. The cameraman, watching in disbelief, stammered, "The ants! They're fighting each other! What is this?" At the broadcast station, the team scrambled for answers. "We need an update. What exactly is happening down there?" one demanded. The cameraman, still processing the surreal sight, could only whisper, I don't know." Jin Woo made his way toward the injured S-rank hunters. He pulled out a bottle of healing potion. "Drink this. I'll explain later." One by one, the hunters drank, and their wounds began to mend. Their strength gradually returned. Dongwook, noticing Cha Hai-in was still unconscious, turned to Jin Woo. "Why isn't she waking up?" Jin Woo frowned. "Her injuries were too severe. My abilities weren't enough." As he glanced at Hai-in, he sensed her life force weakening. Turning back to Dongwook, he said, "We need to leave." "More ants could be on their way." Dongwook nodded.
Right. Let's go. But as they moved, Jin Woo's sharp senses picked up something, a presence unlike the others. He turned his gaze toward the tunnel's entrance. The powerful ant that had battled the S-rank hunters earlier had returned, its dark aura flaring. It spoke. "Your king is not outside. He was not the king. Is there another you call king?" Yun Ho, upon seeing the creature, muttered in disbelief. "Has he defeated Goto Ryuji too?" Dong-wook cursed under his breath. "Damn it!" Jinwoo's eyes narrowed as he assessed the ant's overwhelming presence. "Dong-wook, take care of Cha Hai-in." Dong-wook looked at him, alarmed. "Jinwoo, you can't seriously be—" But Jinwoo had already stepped forward. A realization struck him. "This ant, it's the reason I couldn't detect Goto Ryuji's shadow." The air between them crackled with tension as their auras clashed. The ant's eyes locked onto him. "Are you the king of the humans?" Jinwoo smirked. "A talking insect." The chapter ended with the two warriors standing face to face, their immense power radiating as they prepared for the next battle. Despite the sheer force of the attack, Jinwoo remains unfazed, standing his ground without flinching. A smirk plays on his lips as he scoffs, "Now that's more like an insect." The scene shifts to Seoul, 5 minutes earlier, where heavy rain pours over the city. A phone screen displays a message stating that the raid broadcast has been cut off. Hunters Ju-hee and Mr. Song watch with growing concern. What could have happened to the others? Mr. Song wonders aloud, his voice laced with worry. Ju-hee, equally unsettled. Questions. That ant. What was that thing? Meanwhile, hunters Ju-hee and Yun-tae are just as shocked. Ju-hee exclaims, "What the hell?" in disbelief, while Yun-tae stares at the screen, demanding, "What's going on?" A somber voice interrupts the stunned silence as the broadcast resumes. The report confirms the death of Hunter Min Byung-gu, leaving everyone in shock. The camera cuts to other hunters on the main island, including Min Sung, who is frozen in place, stunned by the tragic news. The news anchor continues, stating that several hunters are still trapped inside the tunnels, their survival uncertain. In the headquarters of the White Tiger Guild, the Vice Guild Master and his team listen with heavy expressions. Then, suddenly, a shocking development unfolds. An unidentified hunter has appeared at the scene. As the broadcast resumes, the members of the White Tiger Guild gape in disbelief. "No way! That can't be possible!" one of them exclaims, their eyes widening as they take in the figure on the screen. The perspective shifts to Japan, where a man is listening to a recorded conversation. Goto Ryuji's last words. The recording captures Goto's interaction with the ant beast.
"This ant has an overwhelming presence," Goto remarks, his voice steady. The ant then asks, "Are you the king?" Without hesitation, Goto responds with confidence, "Why, yes. I am the king." Sugimoto, standing with his back turned, comments that this was the last time they heard from Goto Ryuji. Matsumoto Shigeo, the chairman of the Japanese Hunters Association, clenches his teeth as he bites down on his cigarette, his expression grim. Just then, Sugimoto calls out, his gaze locked on a radar screen. "Mr. Matsumoto, the powerful ant has returned to the Queen's chamber." Matsumoto, his eyes narrowing, asks, "Are the South Korean hunters still alive?" Sugimoto nods. "It seems so. However, we're detecting additional mana signals from another presence." Matsumoto wastes no time. "Turn on the South Korean news broadcast. I need to see this with my own eyes." Meanwhile, in Jin Woo's home, Jin Ah hears an unusual noise. It sounds like something being struck repeatedly. Concerned, she turns to her mother. "Mum, what's that sound?" Her mother sighs, apologizing as she fiddles with the television. "The TV suddenly stopped working." She then glances at Jinna. "By the way, where's Jin Woo? He said he wouldn't be gone for long." Without answering, Jinna dashes to her room. Her mother shakes her head, muttering, "Both you and Jin Woo are acting strange today." Inside her room, Jinna snatches her phone and gasps as she stares at the screen.
The scene cuts to Chairman Go, who is watching the broadcast with such intensity that he accidentally snaps the armrest of his chair. "That's Sung Jin Woo," he exclaims in astonishment. A doctor beside him warns, "Sir, please try to remain calm." Back in the tunnels, Jin Woo and the ant beast remain locked in a tense standoff. The ant lunges forward, throwing a devastating punch aimed directly at Jin Woo's face. The sheer impact fractures the ground beneath them, unleashing a shockwave that sends debris flying. The force of the blow is so powerful that it reaches Jong-in and Yun-ho, who react in disbelief. Jong-in murmurs, "A mage should never engage in close combat like this." Yun-ho shakes his head. Looks like Jin Woo underestimated his opponent and took a direct hit. As the dust settles, the ant sneers at Jin Woo. "Weak, you're no king." But before the creature can finish its taunt, its expression shifts to sheer disbelief. Jin Woo remains standing, completely unharmed. Jong-in and Yun-ho stare in stunned silence. Jin Woo calmly spits out a trickle of blood and glares at the ant, his gaze sharp with resolve. Activating his skill, Commander's Touch, a powerful aura engulfs his hand. The ant staggers backward as the pressure weighs down on it, forcing it to its knees. Jin Woo doesn't hesitate. He delivers a crushing punch straight into the ant's skull. The impact sends the creature hurtling into the tunnel wall, triggering an explosion of debris. The hunters observing the battle are left speechless. Dong-wook, barely able to process what he's seeing, stammers, "Are you sure Jin Woo is a mage-type hunter?" Yun-ho, still in shock, replies, "I knew he was strong, but this? I never imagined." Roaring in fury, the ant shakes off the damage and charges at Jin Woo again. Studying its tough exoskeleton, Jin Woo mutters in annoyance, "What a nuisance!" Once more, he activates Commander's Touch. As the ant's punch flies toward him, Jin Woo effortlessly blocks it with his forearm. The resulting shockwave sends another ripple of energy through the cavern. Then, Jin Woo counters, delivering a bone-shattering punch straight to the ant's torso. The ant retaliates with another strike aimed at Jin Woo's face, but he intercepts the attack with a decisive blow to the creature's skull, cracking its exoskeleton. As the battle intensifies, the air grows thick with volatile mana. The cameraman, struggling to stay upright, mutters, "I'm an A-rank hunter, and even I can barely withstand this pressure." The ant, now visibly damaged, questions how Jin Woo could possibly be stronger than it. Fear creeps into its expression as it realizes something terrifying. It is being overpowered. Jin Woo, his aura growing darker, prepares to launch another attack. With panic in its voice, the ant whispers, Who the hell is this guy?" The chapter transitions into its next phase. The battle rages on, but this time, something has changed. The once arrogant ant is now filled with uncertainty. As they exchange blows, Jin Woo's raw strength begins to take its toll. With each impact, fractures spread across the ant's exoskeleton. It stares in disbelief. How is this happening? Jin Woo, seeing an opening, charges forward and lands a staggering punch. The ant attempts a desperate counter, extending a hidden tail from its mouth to strike Jin Woo. He barely avoids the hit, but the tail grazes him.
Realization dawns upon him. The tail is laced with a deadly paralysis poison, one of the most potent toxins in existence. The ant smirks, believing it has won. "Nice try, human," it mocks. "Now, die." It lunges in for the final strike. Meanwhile, outside the tunnel, Minoru sits hunched over, shaking uncontrollably. Tawada approaches him. "I just spoke to Mr. Sugimoto. What the hell happened?" Minoru stammers, "We can't win. We don't stand a chance against that monster." Tawada glares at him, then shoves him aside in frustration. "Damn it," he mutters. "The real problem is just beginning." Back in the tunnel, Jin Woo tightens his grip on the ant's arm. The ant, expecting him to be paralyzed, watches in horror as Jin Woo remains unaffected. Before it can react, Jin Woo smashes its face into the tunnel wall. A system notification appears. Detoxification complete. Jinwoo smirks. Is that all you've got? Jinwoo senses an unusual emotion radiating from the ant, an unexpected feeling of satisfaction. He quickly deduces that the creature must have assumed the poison would paralyze him, taking comfort in that expectation. However, as Jinwoo's heightened perception sharpens further, he detects a sudden change in the ant's emotions. What was once unwavering confidence now shifts to something else. Fear. Realizing this, Jinwoo acknowledges that his evolving abilities allow him to read the emotions of his opponents. At the same time, he becomes acutely aware of the rising tension among his allies. His gaze flickers toward Hei-in, noticing her growing exhaustion. Understanding that he cannot let this drag on any longer, he resolves to end the battle immediately. With unwavering determination, he propels himself high into the air, launching a devastating kick toward the ant. The sheer force of his strike fractures the ground below, sending shockwaves rippling through the tunnel. However, in a split second, the ant vanishes. The sudden disappearance leaves the onlookers stunned. Confused murmurs spread among the hunters as they frantically search for the creature. Jinwoo's sharp instincts kick in, and his eyes dart upward. There, suspended in midair, the ant hovers, having narrowly evaded his attack with precise agility. Inside the creature's mind, a realization dawns. It now understands that Jin Woo is impervious to poison, and brute strength alone will not be enough to overcome him. Then, without warning, its body begins to shrink. "Strength is your greatest asset," the ant declares, its voice echoing through the tunnel, "but fighting you head-on is pointless." The ant proclaims that its true power lies in its speed. As its body condenses, it channels its energy, preparing for an overwhelming burst of velocity. With a smirk, it declares, "Playtime's over." Jin Woo, standing his ground below, tightens his grip on his daggers, anticipating the ant's next move. In the ensuing moments, both fighters brace themselves for the coming clash. The ant launches a lightning-fast assault, but Jin Woo deftly evades. Seizing the opportunity, he slashes with his dagger, striking the ant's face. Though the exoskeleton absorbs most of the damage, Jin Woo quickly follows up with another attack. However, the ant parries with its claws, pushing him back. Utilizing the momentum, Jin Woo kicks off the tunnel wall, rebounding toward the ant at incredible speed. Their exchanges become a blur, too rapid for the human eye to follow. As the battle rages, the ant realizes in shock that Jin Woo is not only matching its speed, but surpassing it. While Jin Woo acknowledges the ant's power, comparable to the Demon King, if not greater, he also knows that after his past victories, growth, and stronger weapons, this opponent is within his reach. The cracks forming on the ant's exoskeleton confirm it. Pressing his advantage, Jin Woo unleashes a relentless flurry of slashes. The force of his blows restricts the ant's movements. Sensing the decisive moment, Jin Woo activates his critical attack skill, launching a precise barrage of strikes across the ant's body. Suddenly, the system notifies him of an upgrade. His critical attack skill has reached its pinnacle, Mutilate. The unexpected enhancement momentarily stuns him. Sensing imminent defeat, the ant desperately tries to flee. Jin Woo, unfazed, calls out, "Where do you think you're going?" and activates his new ability. In an instant, he launches a relentless onslaught of slashes, each landing with devastating accuracy. The ant, unable to keep up, is immobilized by the relentless assault. With a final decisive strike, Jin Woo severs the ant's hand, eliciting an agonized roar. The wounded creature, now distant, stares at Jin Woo in disbelief. Doubt seeps into its mind. Has it truly no advantage over this human? Number. Refusing to accept its inferiority, it lets out a thunderous roar. The call reaches the ant army, sending them into a frenzied charge toward Jin Woo. The ant, its confidence renewed, sneers. "How do you like that, human?" it taunts. Jin Woo, undeterred, merely smirks, sending a chill down the ant's spine. With calm authority, he summons his shadow army. One by one, his shadows emerge, led by his powerful generals. As his forces clash with the horde of ants, the battle intensifies. The scene erupts into chaos as Jin Woo's shadow army collides with the invading ants. The once dominant ant army now finds itself on the defensive. Yggdrasil initiates the slaughter,
slicing through an ant's neck with a single swing. An orc guard cleaves another in half, while another delivers a devastating punch, piercing straight through an enemy's body. Jin Woo then issues a command. Come forth. A towering figure materializes. Tusk. Before unleashing him, Jin Woo issues a firm order. Target only the ants, harm any humans, and you will never be summoned again. Tusk bows in acknowledgement, then opens his mouth, gathering an immense energy sphere. With a roar, he unleashes a torrent of fire upon the ants. The inferno engulfs them in a devastating blaze, its intensity carving through the tunnel like a burning lance. Hunters Tae-gyu and Dong-wook watch in stunned silence. Is that a summoned beast? Tae-gyu wonders aloud. Dong-wook, eyes wide with disbelief, shakes his head. No, that thing isn't a beast. It's a demon descending upon this world. Before them, Tusk's inferno continues to consume the battlefield, reducing the enemy to ash. Watching his brethren fall, the ant beast struggles to comprehend. Since its birth, it had always been the strongest. Memories flood its mind, of slaying formidable foes like Kei, Ryuji, and Byung-gu, of devouring any who dared challenge it, of rising to the peak of the food chain. In its mind, it was the undisputed king. Yet now, as Jin Woo steps forward, eyes glowing with an overwhelming presence, the ant is plagued by a singular, desperate question. Why? For the first time in its existence, the beast's instinct shifts, not to fight, but to flee. A verdant glow envelops the ant, and Jin Woo, recognizing the familiar energy of Byung-gu's healing ability, quickly deduces that this creature possesses the power to assimilate its opponent's skills by consuming them. In the next instant, the ant recoils, its sole instinct driving it to flee as far as possible. Jin Woo triggers his commander's touch, causing a colossal spectral hand to manifest above the ant. With decisive force, he brings it down, slamming the ant into the ground. The sheer impact crushes the creature instantly. The ant, stunned by the abrupt assault, desperately scrambles away, clawing at the ground in an attempt to escape. However, Jin Woo refuses to let it get away. With a powerful leap, he lands atop the struggling ant, which is frantically trying to retreat. Activating his Mutilate ability, he unleashes a relentless barrage of slashes upon it. A notification promptly appears on his system. The adversary has been eliminated. Jin Woo levels up twice, his gaze fixed on the fallen ant. Just then, Yun-ho urgently calls out to him, alerting him that Hai-in's condition is deteriorating. Jin Woo glances at Hai-in, realizing that too much time has elapsed since the battle began. He understands that a healer is now crucial. However, he is unable to utilize his shadow exchange ability as it remains on cooldown, and he has never attempted teleportation with another person before. The best course of action, Jin Woo decides, is to fly out using Kaiseo. But even then, he worries that Hai-in might not survive the journey. He wonders if any healers remain alive within the Blade Guild. Clenching his fists, he mutters to himself that there must be a solution while watching Hai-in's weakening state. Abruptly, an idea strikes him. He turns to the cameraman and commands him to switch off the camera temporarily. The cameraman, perplexed, asks, "Pardon?" But Jin Woo repeats the order, warning that he will shatter the camera if he refuses. Growing nervous, the cameraman hesitantly complies and shuts off the recording. Jin Woo then directs all his shadows to search for Byung-gu's remains. Yun-ho, startled, questions, "Is he really planning to?" Soon, an orc guard locates Byung-gu's corpse and brings it back. Upon seeing it, Jin Woo observes the damage, evidence that the ant had gnawed through it. He wonders whether his plan will actually succeed.